We will now move to item number 4, request extension of the Billboard moratorium in the D-1 zone. And this will be presented to us by Planning and Zoning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning.
And Mr.
Before you go on, Steve, I just would like to remind the people in the audience that are here in regards to the gun club that certainly we wouldn't think it rude or unprofessional for you to step out and kind of decide how you guys are going to do your 5-minute presentation, because it's not 5 minutes per person, it's 5 minutes total. So we'd like to make sure that you guys have that straightened out before we actually get to that agenda item, which is agenda item number 11, and we are now on agenda item number 4. And there's also copies of the packet from the gun club on the back podium if anyone would like a copy of it. I apologize, Steve, go ahead.
Just to recap the events, bringing this back in November of 2009, the county commission approved a 180-day moratorium on billboard construction in the D-1 zones on I-40. And due to changes to the zoning ordinance that had to be completed. During that time, my office was vacated and I came to work. And last year in June, I began work on the revisions to the ordinance as were approved at that time with the chairman of the Planning and Zoning Board. And we had completed those revisions that had been started by my predecessor at that time. But with other revisions and rewording to some of the ordinance, it was put on a back burner as far as bringing it to you for approval, because we wanted to present it to you as one package, one revision to the ordinance instead of several piecemeal revisions. During that course of time, the nuisance abatement ordinance that the city of Moratorium has passed, and the county and other municipalities within the county were interested in adopting like policy came about, and legal counsel wanted a chance to go through and read that proposal for that nuisance abatement order, compare it with our ordinance, because we already have some of those things in force now as it is. But he wanted to make sure that the ordinance, the zoning ordinance, and the nuisance abatement ordinance jive. There weren't any contradictions in there. So that's why I'm here today, is to ask you to approve an extension of that moratorium on the billboard issue until we have a chance to present you with a completed reversion of the zoning ordinance.
Okay, thank you, Steve. I was, go ahead. I was a current commissioner when all of this took place, so I'm familiar with the issue. However, at this time, I'd like to go to the table for any questions from my fellow commissioners if they have any.
Steve, were you talking about in the D1 zone? Could you, for the audience to be aware of, can you just kind of give a general idea on I-40 what the D1 zone
Sure.
is?
There are 3 commercial zones, D1, D2, which is a heavier commercial, and a D3, which includes adult entertainment considerations. The D2 zones and the D3 zones are usually right at the exits from I-40 to like the Flying C establishment, Flying Corners, and Moriarty. The D2 zones are just outside of that, and depending on the traffic on those off and on ramps, they vary in length along the freeway right away. That's within 350 feet of the interstate right away is what those zones encompass. And then the D1 zones are those stretches of the freeway in between those D2 areas. And that covers a lot of, well, it's mostly ranch land, and there's a lot of state grazing land that's involved with that.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Are there any further questions from the table?
I don't have any.
No, ma'am.
Okay, Steve, certainly I don't feel that there's going to be any problems granting your request. However, just keep the manager's office apprised as to your progress so that we kind of know where it's at and how long you're going to need to work on it, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Is there a motion for, to approve the requested extension on the Billboard Moratorium in the D1 zone?
So moved.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Madam Chair, for clarification, how long are we extending it?
Well, Adolfo believed that he would have the application for the nuisance abatement ready for the commission. Well, it should be within a couple of weeks now. When Maury already adopted that resolution, they had asked how long we thought it might take to come before the county commission. And at that time, it was a 2-month time frame. And we're just about to the end of that time frame. But I would have to ask Adolfo how close he is. Because he needed to review not only our current ordinance that we're working under, but also these proposed revisions that we're working on too.
So are you just asking them to extend it indefinitely? More time?
No.
Okay.
6 months?
I need to talk with Adolfo on that. I would say that within 2 months, we should have something to it.
How about we amend our motion to put some time in there? How about we either extend it 60 days, or within that 60 days you come back and give us an update as to where you're at on the progress? Would that satisfy?
Maybe safer with 90 days.
90? Okay. Are we okay with 90? Okay. So would you amend your motion then to state within your motion that we would have 90 days?
To extend it for 90 days to Billboard Moratorium in the D1 zone.
Okay, thank you. So he has amended his motion. Is there a second to the amended motion?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thanks for the clarification, Jordan. Okay, thank you so much, Steve. We will now go to item number 5, Resolution 2011-32, imposing annual license tax under the Liquor Control Act. Who will be presenting that today?
Madam Chair, I can present this. It's a very simple, basic resolution. Under the Liquor Control Act, the County Commission is authorized to impose annual taxes on persons holding state licenses. And this resolution is just authorizing that cost is $250 per license, and that the tax should be remitted to the county clerk by the 30th day of August.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the table?
Is that the same as last, or have we upped the license fee? The same?
Is the fee set by the state, or is there a cap on what it can be? Set by the state? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, are there any further questions?
No.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion on the table?
So moved.
Thank you. There's a motion for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 2011-32. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. There is no opposition. It's now passed.